Lavish self-praise and wild unpredictability, masking his long-developed political acumen, makes him seem a unique political figure in American history. But maybe not completely unique. In fact, Barone goes through a history full of candidates thought unpredictable by their peers that were successful. He mentions at least one president, Andrew Jackson, who is wealthy and regarded as unpredictably dangerous by his predecessor. He also makes a comparison to Louisiana Governor Huey Long, who was a major developer in his own time. And then also to rich and powerful New York Governor and Vice President Nelson Rockefeller. So see, here's some of the comparisons that are made. Do they work? Let's bring in our political panel, Elizabeth Harrington, staff writer for the Washington Free Beacon, and Jackie Kucinich, senior politics editor for the Daily Beast. You know, Elizabeth, I really enjoyed this comparison because it was for the first time really looking back and broadly speaking about Donald Trump and whether or not he truly is as unique as many pundits say he is. What do you think about those comparisons? Do any work?
I think some of them do for sure. I think Huey Long from Louisiana is a good example. He was said to be able to have this ability to speak directly to the people, and that's largely what Donald Trump is able to do. He's able to cut through everything and build this personal relationship with his supporters so much that they really don't care about, past convictions and policies that they once believed, regardless of whatever he says, they like. And in a way that Huey Long was able to connect with voters through the radio, Trump is able to do it through reality TV and Twitter. So I think the comparison is relevant.
And Jackie, I just want to read a little bit more about the comparison with Rockefeller as well, because this maps it out nicely for our audience in case they missed this article. Here's what Michael Barone wrote about that comparison altogether. We'll pull up the full screen. Rockefeller was richer than Trump, a more gifted art and architecture patron, and less given to boasting. He had a much longer public career, from running FDR's Latin American desk to being Gerald Ford's vice president. But through all that, he was regarded by insiders as an unguided missile, not subject to institutional constraint, seeking power to do whatever he wanted. Rockefeller was elected governor when Donald Trump was 12 and served until Trump was 27 and about to make his jump to Manhattan. So perhaps, is that an example, Jackie, that works as well?
You know, these examples, they do work in some ways, but I think in another way they don't, because you can't discount the media's influence on Trump's bigness in this race, as well as his reality TV, as well as Twitter. He seems omnipresent. His celebrity, his fame, has really fueled his rise in the polls. People know who he is. He had 100% name ID by the time he got into the race. So I think you can't really discount the kind of modern trappings that Donald Trump has really taken advantage of looking at this race. So I think because of that, he is truly unique in a lot of ways.
You know, I wonder what we talk about the media, though, as well as Elizabeth, if there's a double standard going on. I mean, here Donald Trump came out, people were saying he didn't have a plan, he doesn't have details, he doesn't have policy plans. Then he comes out with the details of a tax plan, which he just did yesterday, and then you have all these pundits jumping on him for not liking the details of the tax plan. So is there a double standard when it comes to Donald Trump? And is he, because of his fame and recognition that Jackie points out, is he held to a higher standard than other politicians?
I mean, he might be, but he's also a master of the media, right? I mean, he's able to control the conversation ever since he's gotten in the race. So now when you had all these pundits complaining that he had no specifics, he's able to go against that and say, oh, look, I have an immigration plan. Now I have a tax plan. And nobody's really happy because nobody can really control him, right? They like a candidate that, they can expect to hear what they'll say and they're serious and all of this. He flips that on their head. They don't know what to expect from him. So it's really, there is kind of a unique relationship there that is unlike anyone else with Trump, and he knows how to work it.
You know, I wonder how important those details are, Jackie, as well, versus meaning what you say. I mean, all sorts of, voters, but pundits call for details from all these candidates. But then there's a real question about whether or not they can do what they say they're going to do and whether or not they mean it. And I wonder if that's where Trump is really succeeding with voters, because when he says, I'm going to aggressively go after ISIS, he may not have the details, but perhaps voters really hear that he means it.
I mean, he might mean it, but it doesn't mean he can do it. I mean, that is, the devil is in the details. And it comes to Donald Trump, he's promised the moon and the stars and a puppy in every home.
But how many details do you need at this point, I guess, is the broader question. And are people demanding...
I think you do need a little bit of a plan.
But are people demanding more details from him than other candidates?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of other candidates, you have heard details about how they would, particularly someone like Marco Rubio, who Trump has really gone after recently. You've heard a lot about what he would do foreign policy-wise. Whether you agree or not is a totally different issue. But in terms of, just saying you're going to go bomb the oil fields and surround them by troops, you can't really do that. So I think, that the details are what's going to bring down Trump in the long run. Look at what happened in the last debate. He was very light on policy, and we've seen his poll numbers come down to earth as a result.
Just real quick, final thought, Elizabeth. The New York Times in a column today says he's going to be out before Iowa. They say they're making a mockery of the American political process. Really harsh words from one columnist there. Do you agree with that? That Jackie says the details are going to be the problem for Trump. Will it by Iowa?
I think it's going to be whenever he wants to get out, whenever he has decided that his polls are kind of slipping or he's just sick of the game. That's when he'll want to get out. But I think he's in it for the long haul as of now.
And we'll see if he's one of the surprises that, some of these other historical references were at one point or another. Elizabeth and Jackie, great to have you both. Thank you.